When you can't win, learn to wait. We've all heard the saying, if at first you don't succeed, try again. But what if I told you that sometimes, the best strategy is to do nothing? Sounds crazy, right? Well, buckle up because we're about to dive into one of Sun Tzu's most counterintuitive teachings. The Art of Inaction. Sun Tzu wrote, if the enemy is secure at all points, be prepared for him. If he is in superior strength, evade him. Now, this isn't about cowardice, it's about smart leadership. Think about it this way, every action has a cost. It's like that internet meme, if you don't do stupid things won't happen to you. In war and in life, sometimes the smartest move is no move at all. The trap of action bias. We often fall into this trap of thinking that doing something, anything, is better than doing nothing. But here's the kicker, sometimes action is the riskiest move of all. Sun Tzu starts his book by saying, war is a matter of vital importance to the state, the province of life or death. The road to survival or ruin. In other words, every move you make could be your last. So you'd better be damn sure before you make it. Knowing when you can't win. Here's another mind bender. You can know you're going to win, but you can't make yourself win. What does that mean? It means that if you've done your homework and you know you don't have the advantage, no amount of pep talks or battle cries is going to change that fact. The one-hit wonder strategy. Sun Tzu wasn't a fan of long, drawn-out conflicts. He believed in decisive victories, fighting battle after battle with no clear end in sight. That's not strategy, that's a meat grinder. Instead, the goal should be to win with one decisive strike. It's like in boxing, you don't want to trade punches for 12 rounds. You want that one perfect knockout punch, the patience of a hunter. So what do you do when your enemy is strong and prepared? Here's the game plan. 1. Be defensive and avoid battle. 2. Practice patience. Easier said than done, right? 3. Use diplomacy. Yes, even in war, talking can be a weapon. 4. Wait for your enemy to make a mistake. They always do, eventually. 5. When the moment is right, strike decisively. A lesson from history, the fall of Guan Yu. Let me tell you a story about one of China's most famous warriors, Guan Yu. This guy was a legend. Undefeated in battle, respected by all. He even captured one of the enemy's top generals. He was so feared that the enemy considered moving their capital just to get away from him. But here's where it gets interesting. Guan Yu got cocky. He started making enemies left and right. He even stole supplies from his allies. Big mistake. His enemies, who couldn't beat him in battle, decided to play the long game. They sent a young, unknown officer to guard against him. This officer wrote Guan Yu a fan letter, basically saying, "Oh, great Guan Yu, I'm your biggest fan. I'd never dare to fight you." Guan Yu fell for it. He let his guard down, moved his troops away. And that's when his enemies struck, catching him completely off guard. The undefeatable Guan Yu was defeated, captured, and executed. The takeaway. So what's the lesson here? It's not always about being the strongest or the bravest. Sometimes, it's about being the most patient. Sun Tzu said the best warriors don't become famous for their courage or their brilliant victories. Why? Because they only fight battles they know they can win easily. They don't create epic stories of struggle and triumph. They just win. Remember, in business, in politics, in life, sometimes the best move is to wait, watch, learn, and when the time is right, make your move. It might not make for a great story, but it makes for great results. And isn't that what true leadership is all about? The danger of losing sight of your goal. Have you ever been so angry that you did something stupid? Something that completely derailed your plans? Well, you're not alone. In fact, this common human flaw has been exploited by military strategists for thousands of years. The angry general trap. Sun Tzu wrote, if your opponent is of choleric temper, seek to irritate him. In other words, if your enemy has a short fuse, light it. Why? Because when people get angry, they forget why they're really there. They forget their main goal, their primary mission, if you will. All they can think about is getting revenge right here, right now. A tale of two generals. Let me tell you a story about two generals from ancient China. One fell for this trap, and one didn't. First, we have Cao. He was left in charge of a crucial fortress with simple orders: don't leave, no matter what. I'll be back in 15 days. Sounds easy, right? But then the enemy showed up, and they didn't attack. No, they did something much worse. They built a tower right outside the fortress and started insulting Cao Ju and his men. All day, every day, for almost a week. Can you imagine 5 days of non-stop insults? It would drive anyone crazy. And that's exactly what happened. Cao Ju snapped. He forgot his orders and led his army out to teach those insulters a lesson. Spoiler alert, it didn't end well for Cao Ju. Now, let's look at another general, Sima Yi. His enemy, the brilliant strategist Zhu Liang, tried the same trick. Zhu Liang even sent women's clothes to Sima Yi, basically calling him a coward. But Sima Yi, he didn't budge. He remembered his mission. He stuck to the plan. And in the end, he won. The modern-day mission drift. Now, you might be thinking, that's all very interesting, but I'm not a general. How does this apply to me? Well, let me ask you this. Have you ever gotten into an argument on social media and spent hours crafting the perfect comeback? Have you ever been so focused on winning an argument that you forgot why you were having the discussion in the first place? That's your modern-day Cao Ju moment. You're letting your emotions derail you from your real goals. The power of remembering your why. There's a saying in Buddhism, don't forget your original intention. It's the same idea as staying true to your mission or keeping your eye on the prize. In today's world, it's easier than ever to get distracted. Social media, endless notifications, the constant stream of news, they're all trying to pull your attention away from what really matters, the takeaway. So here's your challenge. Every day, with everything you do, ask yourself, why am I really doing this? What's my true goal here? Are you arguing on Twitter to change someone's mind, or just to feel right? Are you working late because it's necessary for your career goals, or because you're avoiding something at home? Remember, true strength isn't about never getting angry or never being tempted. It's about staying focused on your goals even when you are angry or tempted. In the end, the most dangerous enemy isn't the one outside. It's the one inside, the part of you that forgets why you started in the first place. So, don't be like Cao Ju. Be like Sima Yi. Stay cool, stay focused, and always remember your mission. After all, isn't that what true leadership and true success is all about? The strength in appearing weak. All right, folks, we've talked about greed and self-control. Now, let's dive into something that might seem counterintuitive at first, the power of appearing weak. Sun Tzu said, appear weak when you are strong. But why would you want to do that? Let me tell you a story that'll blow your mind. The tale of Modu. Picture this, it's ancient China, and there's this guy named Modu, the leader of the Xiongnu tribe. Now, Modu's neighbor, the Donghu tribe, thinks they're hot stuff. They decide to test Modu's resolve. First, they ask for Modu's prized horse. His advisors are furious, but Modu, he just hands it over. Then, they ask for one of his wives. Again, Modu gives in. His people are confused, but Modu's playing the long game. Finally, the Donghu push their luck and ask for a piece of worthless land. This time, Modu loses it. He executes anyone who even suggested giving up the land and launches a surprise attack on the Donghu. See what happened there? By appearing weak and compliant, Modu lulled the Donghu into a false sense of security. They never saw the attack coming, the art of not fighting. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Fast forward a bit, and we've got another great leader, Empress Le of the Han Dynasty. Modu, feeling cocky, sends her an incredibly insulting letter, basically proposing marriage right after her husband's death. Her advisors are outraged. They want war, but Le, she keeps her cool. Instead of falling for Modu's provocation, she sends back a witty, diplomatic response. She essentially says, sure, come on over. We've got mountains, soldiers, and we can go hunting together. It'll be fun. What's she doing here? She's refusing to take the bait. She's showing strength not by fighting, but by not fighting at all. The takeaway. So, what can we learn from Modu and Empress Le? 1. Appearing weak can be a strength. Sometimes, letting others underestimate you is the best strategy. It gives you the element of surprise. 2. Pick your battles. Not every provocation needs a response. Sometimes, the strongest move is to not engage at all. 3. Use wit over force. A clever response can diffuse tension better than a show of force. 4. Stay calm under pressure. When others are losing their cool, keeping your composure can be your greatest asset. Remember, true strength isn't about always showing your power. It's about knowing when to show it and when to hold back. It's about being smart enough to see the bigger picture. Next time you're faced with a challenge or a provocation, ask yourself, what would Modu or Empress La do? Sometimes, the path to victory isn't through confrontation, but through clever strategy and self-control. In the game of life and leadership, it's not about who can shout the loudest or punch the hardest. It's about who can think the smartest and play the long game. And sometimes, that means appearing weak when you're actually strong.